You don't think that just shows the formulation of a kind of a pattern? 16, 15, 46 or not? You don't think predatory? And if somebody said, oh my God, this would, in fact, she's on the list. Let's assume, again, I'm not saying this, but what if there was a woman that says, she's not allowed near any sound sets or whatever, anywhere around. She's famous for this. At the end of the day, put it all together. I got a lecherous, treacherous, let's say, victim. I've got a guy who's out of his mind, who is so drunk he doesn't even remember this. In a world where it's like it's an orgy. It's put all of this together, and you want the jury to say, what am I doing here? You got a bunch of, this one's just seeking a payday. Watch how their tune changes when you say, oh, no, we're not going to sue. We're going to see criminal justice. We're going to put him in jail. Whoa. Wait. Oh, that's right. And when he goes to jail or prison, all of his ability to pay you back will be gone because he's using it all up in lawyers and he'll be, but don't worry, you'll get your way. He'll be in the, whoever the hell he is, for the next 20 years. No, I don't want that. I want the money. Oh, no, you want justice. No, I don't want justice. Not if he can't pay. Now, again, I'm repetitive here because I'm not saying that's what happened. But if I could ever make a jury say, this stinks. Same thing with Diddy. Same thing with anybody. This isn't the case that, let me tell you the case you want. If you're a prosecutor or somebody, this is somebody who comes in with a crutch and an eye, and like an eye patch. And oh no, that's it. We're settling. Somebody who comes in, he can't hear. Excuse me, I can't hear out of this ear. Why? Well, when he beat me or so, I'm just saying that's the case. This is something. Now, if you go back and you look, first of all, watch anytime you show me this Russell Brand, by the way, bless his heart, with that dentition, this guy could eat an apple through a picket fence. First thing I do is, I don't know what you're trying to do. The pirate routine, were you on vacation? A juror could say, because they're going to see all this. He doesn't seem to be too upset about this. Was he on holiday? Let me see, I was working my ass off when this guy was on holiday, dressed like Johnny Depp in the Caribbean. He looks like Keith Richards meets, whatever, Monty Rock III. Oh, he's yeah. And there he is. He's going through all this stuff about this criminal justice system. And as I told you, my beautiful wife, they're over there. They're listening to this. So you're using them as a prop while their old man pleads for his mercy. You do this you're saying this in front of your kids, that you were basically like they say in the South, you were a three-peckered goat. You were this safe here. You're doing this in front of your family and you're laughing about it. And you're talking about, are you kidding me? See, let me be either side. I can be either saying, let's play that again. No, let's don't. No, let's play it again. Now, tell me right now, Russell, were you upset at this point? Where you're laughing here? Is this the way you show laughter? Let's play it again. Where you're laughing and you're smirking. What an idiot. You just head down and say, as an advice I can't say anything. And you can understand that. Yes, Russell, we understand that. And that's it. But now they're going to keep running this, and he's going to be hearing terrible things 20 years ago. And you can say, let me explain something to you. No, I'm not telling him to lie. I'm not telling him to lie. But what if I said, one of the reasons I can't do movies anymore, one of the reasons I'm not asked, not necessarily just because I'm not but I've suffered probably some permanent brain damage by virtue of my drinking and my drug use. I tell you right now, I'm not proud of it. And that's one of the reasons why I can't do this. So if you're asking me to come back 26 years ago, during a time when there were years, there are people who say they don't remember years. There are people who were so drunk. Let me tell you something. Now we're back to that. So here's my thing. Which side do you want me to take? Either one. But if I'm the prosecutor, or if I'm the plaintiff's lawyer, who's bringing the lawsuit, it's going to be a lot harder for me if Russell just shuts up. Let's start seeing pictures of his family. He's dancing turning his life around. Maybe, and by the way, lay off this Jesus stuff. Nobody believes it. Sorry, nobody believes it. If you're, there's a biblical verse that says something to the effect of, blessed is he who pays reverence to the Lord in secrecy. Or stop doing this. Show pictures of your kids. Maybe talk to kids the perils of drug abuse. Don't be like me. There's nothing worse than when somebody says, it's like the person who woke up. God forbid he's driving his car and he's been in an accident and he's killed somebody and he doesn't even remember it. He blacked out. Let me tell you something. This was a horrible time. I don't want to think about anything. And I'm not very good as a witness because I don't remember. So remember, this is now what you and I can do is many people will immediately, like a Rorschach test, Shaun, as you know, will take on the position of either being for him, against him, liking him, viewing this. That's where I'm not sure how you pick a jury, or if they do in the British law, but in our country, you pick the right juror. And I want to get somebody who is disgusted by this, who hates the media elite, who hates this, who hates the fake news media, the ones who try to set up President Trump, the ones who try to do this, the ones who, that's the thing. They go up and all they want to do is they just want to sick their fangs like parasites into people who, that's what I want. That's the kind of stuff that I want. And they're out there because look at the reactions of the people. Some people feel they like him. And maybe for reasons there he goes. They look as though, or they feel as though they're going after somebody they know, somebody they like. Maybe they see themselves as Russell Brand. They identify. That's what I want as a juror. But he's got to act humble. He's got to act like somebody who looks like he, you kind of feel sorry for him, who just sits at the table and looks down. I mean, he's got to be told this. And whoever is advising him to go and explain this should be fired, because you are not talking yourself out of this. Let people on their own. Put it this way. The people who love Russell Brand don't need Russell Brand to tell them why they should support Russell Brand. The people who hate him are going to forget him. They're not going to hear his voice. They might see him. But this is going to bring him right to the top of the consideration pile. He's going to come across as being insincere. So just shut up regarding this. Be quiet. And if it comes time to actually prove the case, and let me also explain something to you. I got to be careful how to say this. In one of the charges, there was this reference of, let's just use the word, the exposing. Now, there was a case years ago in New York of I'm not going to mention any, but a very famous person you might know, kind of in the entertainment business, who was alleged to have done something to that. But something far, far more self-gratifying than that. Believe it or not, there were no charges that New York law recognized. There's no such thing as flashing. I mean, we don't. There is, but it depends. Especially today, unless it's accompanied by something that is threatening or something, whatever. So these laws are very, very. You've got to specifically say, "Tell me what he did." And let me work on the defense if one exists at all. Another one, too, is how do you corroborate something that happens 26 years ago? Right? 19, right? No, 20, no. Was it 90, 99? Yeah, 26 years ago. How do you corroborate this? Any hospital records? Any ambulance or medical, anything at all? Psychiatrist results? Anything? Diary? Friends you called at the time? Corroboration? One of the things that happens sometimes, you'll hear that, it's funny, yes, because this is my best friend, and I'm the best friend of this young lady. And at the time they were making the movie, I remember she called me one day. It was a Tuesday afternoon, right on or about when this happened, and she was beside herself. And she said that Russell Brand. Well, that's good. That's something. You don't have to have, medical records and surgical records, but still something other than this. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. All right. So many points raised there. You've got tons of questions have come in, but before we start with them, let me just say a few things that have been triggered from what you've said just now to me. So I agree with you. He's laying on the Christianity too thick, and using his kids as props wasn't a good idea. I was surprised that he rebutted and came out and responded so fast. I thought he would have remained quiet on it. So yeah, I think that's a mistake. And anything he says is going to be used against him. Now you're talking about, the time it took for these people to go forward. Yeah, we do see that in many cases because of the trauma and how they have to resolve it before they can come forward and things like that. But if you look at the timing concerning the hit pieces that were made against him, we had the Channel 4 dispatches show in this country, and we had the Sunday Times article. They were both working together. And basically, like you said, you could fill a soccer stadium with all of the women he slept with. They fine-tooth combed as many of his former sexual partners as they could. And that is the genesis of where the bulk of these allegations come from. It wasn't like these women just organically came forward and said, I want justice.
Right.
It was done at the behest of Channel 4 and the Times. So that makes it suspicious to me. I don't know if he's innocent or guilty, but I do think the timing of it stinks because the UK government tried to take him down. They sent a letter to YouTube asking them to demonetize his channel, and they did. And they also sent a letter to Rumble, and Rumble told them to F off. So it seems that there's far greater forces at play. It's heavily politicized.
And they want their target is not so much they're using, one could argue, they're using the person who was the putative victim as the cudgel. What they really want is him. This is a personal thing. They want him. They want to demonetize. Don't let him work again, and that sort of thing. When you have the, with all of the, put it this way, when you have people in your country that who have been the victim, let's say, of various SA from, let's say, illegal aliens or people from other countries, or you know what I'm talking about. Believe me, they are. I mean, they are at the police or the constable or whatever this. They are pounding at the door saying, "I want justice now." You don't have to go look for them. Believe it or not, the idea, there's this myth of sometimes, yes, there is. Especially interfamilial allegations and the like. But I promise you, ask anybody who was a detective or anybody who deals in that particular area, victims do not, they are furious. They want to get this guy off the street. This idea that these victims are by their very nature so affected by this that they're cowed into, oh, no. Not like you think. And we do understand there are some people. Look, right now, if we had some I don't know what you want to call it, some magic glasses, and we can say all of the women who are watching right now, who say, if I ask you, do you know of any instance in your life where you might have had something that was a little bit kind of weird? Like maybe there was an event saying, well, sometimes real bad and sometimes not. There isn't a woman on this planet after a certain age that did not have something bad happen, from mildly bad to weird to terrible. This is so common, it's not even funny. There's no such thing as the rarity of this. Some people say, I'm so embarrassed. It happens all the time, and women talk to each other themselves. And it should be like that because there is no excuse for this. And what happens is every time, the impression is that people are somehow, they monetize or commodify or kind of merchandise their own victimization. It hurts the cause. So if that's the way it's perceived, I'm not saying it is, but you got to ask yourself this question. And I mean this, and I want to just compare it to Diddy. If I could tell a juror, Do you know what this is like? See, for example, let's say if I say, let's say the victim in this is, let's say a teacher, not the victim, excuse me, the assailant. I'm saying, that's it. Sorry, there's no excuse. Sorry, no, 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 no. There's no such thing as, you know what it's like? I was so drunk. No, 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 no. You're a teacher. No, 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 no. That doesn't work. Well, I was a priest. Oh, no, 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 no. It doesn't work. I was a rock star. Wow. And how did these people find themselves to the movie set? Who brought them there? I want to know the circumstances. What if we found out, I'm not saying it's true, but what if we found out that the movie company itself brought these people there? What if they figure, well, this is what Mr. Brand wants, and we know the brand of his brand, and we know what he likes, and we know his propensity. Keep him happy. Keep Mr. Who knows? And the idea, and this is another thing too, and if you try to find this Megyn Kelly, whenever people make a big deal out of something that nobody's arguing about, and I don't care what you say, and I may be old-fashioned, but microwaving kittens, all right, cut, hold it. That's not going on in the stand. So when Megyn Kelly says, and it's 16 years old, yes, we know that. Thank you. Thank you. The bastion of morality. She's put her imprimatur on it. She wants the world to know, yes, I found this disgusting. Oh, give me a break. We know that. You don't have to remind us of that. Okay? I got it. But there's something which is very, very weird. And this is where nobody wants to talk about it. There are different degrees of things. There is predatory, and then there are people where you live in a world like your, and I'm not trying to say it, but like your Diddy. But that sounded weird. When you are Diddy, and the 90% of your adult life has been one freak out or freak off party after another with people breaking the door down. And you get the impression, predator? I'm a predator? No, they came to me. Don't you understand? Now, if Russell Brand said, look, you may be, I didn't know, I couldn't tell you, I don't remember who was on the set. You want me to figure out who's 16 and who's 18 and who's 21? I was blotto. I don't remember anything. Now, in our country, we have strict liability. Liability without fault. Knowledge means nothing. There's no such thing as negligence. It is absolute. We limit them in civil law to this particular type of SA or S activity, using wild animals. In our country, if you have wild animals, you have a zoo, and that tiger gets out of the cage, you're done. I don't care what you did. You could build a moat. It doesn't matter. Explosives, demolitions, pyrotechnics. If anything happens, it's strict liability. That's kind of what this is. But this is different. He's going to say, I don't remember anything. Out of a million, you got one? One? Just the odds of this. One? I couldn't even tell. And I'll bet you, I know he doesn't want to do this, but I would bet, put it this way, I would not be surprised if old what's his name? If old Mr. Couldn't tell the difference between 16, 18 men, women, animal, vegetable. I mean, it's seriously in that world. It's so. Do you remember one time, as an aside, there was this famous story of David Bowie and Mick Jagger? Remember that? There was a story about them. And they said in a way, they said something like, look, mate, pal, buddy, you don't know the time. It was considered you were just boring if you didn't walk around dressed as a woman from time to time. It was nuts. It's not what you think. You have to understand the time. You have to understand this. It doesn't absolve you criminally. But there are a lot of people who say, I had no idea. We're not predators. Just wait. Just sit here and wait. You know, there's this wonderful, my favorite animal. I think it's called the anglerfish. He opens his mouth and he has this little thing on top of his head. It looks like a worm. He goes like that. He just sits there with his mouth open. Doesn't go after anybody. They come to him. And he goes like that.